In today's video, we're going to be unboxing and taking a look at this Chattanooga Choo-Choo train set. But before we get started, let me introduce myself. My name is Stan, and let me welcome you to the Train Set Collector. This is a channel that I created that is devoted to pretty much everything train sets, both modern train sets and vintage, the vintage being my favorite. So anyway, so we've got this train set here, and odds are, if you are a kid in the 1970s, especially around like say the mid 70s, there's a very good chance that you had a train set that was very similar to this one. You either got it for your birthday, you got it for Christmas, or it could have just been just a pop surprise from your parents or something like that. In fact, these train sets were so ambiguous, I guess is the word that I'm looking for. So many people had them that it's a good chance also that a Tyco train set like this, or even one from like say Lifelike or Bachman, is the reason that maybe you have gotten into model railroading yourself. Or even if you didn't get into it, it gave you an introduction to it anyway. So anyway, while these sets are by no means at that time even considered to be the pinnacle of quality, the one big thing they had going for them is they were affordable, they were eye-catching, they were colorful, they certainly had presence, and everything you needed was inside the box. I mean, you would get it for Christmas, you would unwrap it, and you could take it right out, and probably shouldn't have put it on the floor, but that's what we did, and get it up and running right away. So today we're going to be looking at a specific Tyco train set, and we're looking at it right here. And honestly, this is probably one of the most eye-catching Tyco sets they ever produced. The locomotive and the cars, everything about it is very colorful. And it has an iconic name, Chattanooga, even though this one is the diesel version, whereas most people are probably familiar with the steam engine version. But this set in particular, as I already mentioned, has a diesel version of the Chattanooga Choo-Choo. And this set was released in 1977. And it was very heavily promoted by Tyco in that year, especially around Christmas time. In fact, it was not a very hard set to find at all. You could find it probably at any Walmart or Kmart or Target. Well, I don't know about Target. I'm not sure about that. But certainly any of your standard department stores at the time, like Kmart or Walmart. And probably just almost any store would have had this, a Toys R Us, a hobby shop, and it was very heavily promoted and featured in the Sears and JCPenney catalogs. This set was in both of those. So anyway, I don't want to get too much into that kind of information. I'm going to record a separate video and release it a little bit later. They'll go over a little bit more history about this train set here. So with that out of the way, let's get started by taking a look at the packaging, and then we're going to lay this flat, pull everything out, take a look at each piece, and then ultimately end the video out with setting up a loop of track and giving this train set a run. So I thought before we lay this train set down flat, figured we would take a quick look at the packaging itself, because not just Tyco, but any of the train set manufacturers in the 70s and in the 80s really kind of relied on their packaging to grab your attention, and basically use that as a form of a sales tactic, if you will. Parents or grandparents will be strolling through the toy aisle looking for something to buy, and then you just could not miss this. They really designed it to catch your attention. And it starts really with just how out there in the open everything is. Like here you can see we've got our Chattanooga diesel locomotive with its bright red and yellow colors. And we've got our baby Ruth freight car, a Jell-O freight car, and then we've got a Wesson tank car, and then we've got this old Dutch cleanser hopper car, followed up by the Chattanooga caboose, which is again with the bright yellow and red. And even more so than that, it shows you one of the accessories, which is this Maxwell House billboard that actually has a whistle built into it. And then we have our track. Now, once you open this up, you'll find the power supply back here. But the other two notable things about the train sets is, first, we have this nice running shot of the train set laid out here. And it basically tells you everything that you're going to get here. That, you know, you've got your train, you've got your track, and it comes with an electric power supply. And then, of course, the real highlight to me is this artwork over here on the side. And this is pretty standard packaging for most of your Tyco train sets in about the mid-70s. They would have this big open window where you can see the train, this little section here where you have the assembled train set, and this just nice artwork. And this whole thing just screams by me. So anyway, I thought we would just go over that real quick. And now we can go ahead and stop the camera, and I can lay this flat, and we can start pulling everything out and taking a closer look. All right, I've got it laying flat here so we can see everything that's included. So what we're going to do is we're going to lift the top off, and then we're going to take a quick look at the edges. Then we'll focus on what's inside. So these just lift straight up like so and come off. And then on the side here, it just basically mentions that it's HO scale, ready to run, complete with track power. And you can see the train there. And then we just have the name of the train set and that it comes with the train whistle. And it pretty much repeats that on the other the other three sides. So let's get this out of the way. I don't want to risk damaging it. And we got an old piece of rubber band hanging around in there. Let's get rid of that. We don't need that. All right, so first off, let's take a look at the paperwork. This train set fortunately does have that. It's already hard enough as it is to find these train sets complete with their box, but it's even more so to be complete with the box and have the paperwork, because oftentimes that would get stuck in a drawer and Lord knows where it goes. So first bit of paperwork we've got here is a little bit of information that tells you how to assemble and maintain your train set. And then we have some operating instructions and how to put smoke fluid in the locomotive, which I will not be doing today. Well, I'm certainly not going to be doing that because this one does not do that. So never mind. So this is a fairly generic bit of information that it has that on there. So just ignore anything about smoke fluid for today. And then we have some information on what to do if something has gone wrong. There is a number you can call, I believe. Does it have a number? Maybe not. Just the address there. And then some troubleshooting tips. So you could fill this out and send it into Tyco. And this is going to be a parts list. If you need any additional parts, or it also lets you know things that you can purchase, such as accessories. Like, say, right here, you can get Tyco kits, or you can get more track, those types of things. And there's another side to it. And then basically just get a little mini catalog that shows you some of the Tyco things that are available. And we got a little $2 refund, which don't sound like a lot, but we got to think this is the 1970s, which is still probably not a lot, but you know. And these are some of the accessories you can get for your train set. All right, so that is a look at the paperwork. So the next thing that comes with it is going to be your standard Tyco power supply. This is a used set, so this is not coiled up and nice and neat. But there's your Tyco power supply. And right here is where you hook up your track, and this is where you can hook up some accessories. And this is your forward and reverse. And this is your throttle, which controls your speed. We'll set that to the side. And then here is our track. Now the box says it comes with a 36-inch loop of track, or just a circle of track. However, here is all the track that is in there. I'm not going to pull that out. But one thing that I had noted is in the catalog, it says it comes with an oval of track. whereas the packaging here says it comes with a circle of track. So, but what I do have over here, just to show you what would come inside the box, you would get one of these terminal and re-railers. So this is where you're going to hook up your power, that we just looked at, the power supply. And this is going to also help you keep your cars and everything on the track, and you can use it to help put the cars onto the track. There'll be one of those, and then we'll come with 11 of these. These are standard 18-inch radius curves. And then it would come with 2 of these, and these are 9-inch straight pieces. And as you noted, at this time they would have all come with brass track. Later sets would come with what they called true steel, which had steel rails instead of the copper, or the brass, I'm sorry. All right, so we've already kind of looked at the track. So let's look at the first and only accessory that comes with this train set. And it's going to basically be a billboard. So let's go ahead and open that up. Now, I thought this set was 100% complete, but it's actually missing something. And we'll go over that in just a minute. So this is just an insert with instructions. So let's set that aside. And here is the actual billboard itself. We have the Maxwell House, and then we have the Payday candy bar. Set that to the side. And here is the billboard itself. And this also has the train whistle. And you can see that it has been in this package for a very long time, because the wires have left an impression. So you would just hook this up to that AC connection, and in this you would push to make the whistle go off. And it should come with 2 of these, but this set only had 1, which is a bummer, but we're not going to worry too much about that. All right, so here is the caboose in the box. Here is our Wesson car, our tank car. This is our 40-foot Reefer. This is going to be our Dutch cleanser car. Then we've got our Jell-O 50-foot Boxcar. And this is a covered hopper, meant to mention that. And then finally, we have our Chattanooga GP20 locomotive right here. So I'm going to stop the camera, take a moment to get everything out of the box, and then we'll take a quick look at each piece. Then we'll set up some track and give it a run. Now, I have all the freight cars unboxed and sitting off to the side here, but I thought I'd cut back in for just a second so we could look at the packaging that was typical for Tyco train sets, and then we could just actually unbox the locomotive itself. So your box that it came in, the freight cars rather, was just your basic typical cardboard box with a little plastic window. And then inside, holding them in place, would just be another cardboard insert. And the car would sit in this little space, and you just slide that into the box. The locomotive and the caboose were oftentimes a little bit different. It wasn't always 100% so with the caboose, but usually the locomotive was. But that may have changed later down the road. I'm not 100% sure. But we'll go over that in just a second. So this is that locomotive we looked at. That's that GP20. So you just open your end, get your little flaps out of the way, and then just kind of give it a little shake. But what you'll want to do is when you start to pull this out, grip this foam and keep your hand behind it, just like that. Oftentimes it's tight enough you won't have to worry about it, but I'm going to show you why you want to do that. And also too, don't hold it up very high. Don't walk around doing this. You know, you see how close I have it to the set, you know, the set boxes here. And the reason for that is it is open on both sides. So it can, and I'm going to demonstrate it, just fall right out. So if I just lift this up, you see how it's already kind of coming. Now it's tight enough that it's mostly holding in, but it doesn't take much and it just pops right out. And the caboose and the locomotive will oftentimes use this styrofoam to hold them in. A little bit more secure than the cardboard, but it was completely open on both sides. I wish what they had done was close this off, but maybe had just like a couple or 3 holes on the other side. That way, if you had to flip it, then maybe you could push it from this side if it was a little too tight. But that's the way it was done. All right, so there's our locomotive. So let me move this out of the way, and then we'll take a look at each of the cars and the locomotive. All right, so here are our freight cars and our locomotive and caboose. Before we take a look into those, let's get a couple things out of the way. These are vintage train sets. So the detail on these is all molded in, and the amount of separately applied parts is almost zero. Not completely zero, but almost. If you're someone who's into more modern model railroading, you're well aware of, like, say, Athearn Genesis or, you know, Atlas, or some of the modern manufacturers that just have extreme amounts of detail, not just on their locomotives, but on their freight cars. Everything from lights to separately applied grab irons and just brake detail, all kind of stuff. You're not getting any of that with these. So let's just get that out of the way right here. And that still holds true even with modern train sets, you know, which we'll see, you know, in future videos. And the other thing is these will have all plastic wheels. There's no metal wheels on these. And they'll have what's called horn hook couplers instead of the traditional knuckle couplers. So just kind of keep that in mind as we go through this and going forward, basically with any vintage unboxing. So here is our Chattanooga caboose. This style of caboose was real big with Tyco train sets. It's a streamlined caboose. So your cupola is on top and it's offset. It's not in the center. So again, like we said, we got our plastic wheels here and we have our horn hook couplers. Now the caboose actually does have some separately applied parts. You have your smokestack here. I don't know what that is. That's just a defect or what that is right there by it. But anyway, you have your smokestack. You have a brake wheel with a ladder and some handrails. You can remove these. These are separately applied. And the same on the other side. And you can just see how nice and bright these colors are. Not a darn thing prototypical about it, but it does catch your attention and looks good. All right, so our next car is going to be our 40-foot Reefer car. And this one is Baby Ruth. And you can see it looks really nice. The printing and everything is nice and crisp and bright. But again, our plastic wheels, and we have our horn hook couplers here. And the only separately applied piece we've got is going to be that brake wheel. Everything else is molded in. In fact, they didn't even carve out for the steps here. It's just one filled in piece. And that's something pretty unique to Tyco. So next we have our Wesson tank car here. And again, with the plastic wheels and the horn hook. And it does have a little bit of separately applied pieces. Mainly there's a little ladder here. We got a brake wheel there. Another ladder. And then we have a little metal grab iron that goes all the way around the car. You can see that as we go around here. And this one is Wesson vegetable oil. Really nice colors. Printing looks great. Very nice car. Finally, we have our covered hopper here. This is a nice bright yellow old Dutch cleanser, and with a little cleanser lady on it. Those of us that have been around a while probably remember this. Again, plastic wheels, horn hook coupler there on the underside there. And its only separately applied part is, again, the brake wheel. But the detail is pretty good. It's all molded in, obviously, but the paint is crisp and just looks really good. It's really nice. Now, this next car is kind of a favorite among a lot of Tyco collectors, and it's this 50-foot boxcar here. And you can see it's a Jell-O car, gelatin dessert, and it has little strawberries on there, so it's featuring the strawberry version of Jell-O. Again, plastic wheels, horn hook. That's our only separately applied piece, our brake wheel. And something to note, we've talked about this brake wheel. It's very common when you find these cars that if the set's been used at all, these are missing. So oftentimes you'll have to go on a scavenger hunt looking for those. And here's the other side. Again, everything looks nice and crisp and looks really good. So finally, we're going to get to the locomotive, which is an EMD GP20. It's nice, bright red and yellow, and says Chattanooga on the side. Engine number is 5628. And unlike modern locomotives that you would get from, say, Athearn or Walthers or someone like that, that number appeared on every single locomotive. Doesn't matter if you bought it separately, came with a train set, or a friend gave it to you, it did make no difference. Everyone had that on there. There was no 4 or 5 different road numbers and different details based on when it might have been manufactured, all that stuff. Everything is molded in, but we do have some separately applied parts. We've got nice plastic handrails, which is a step up from the way it used to be. You would have to put those on yourself, kind of like you would do an Athearn Blue Box locomotive, if you're familiar with those. Here's our molded in truck detail. And we still have our horn hook coupler. All your detail is molded in for your grills and vents and such. But we do have plastic windows. And there will be a light in there that just illuminates the whole cab. But we do have separately applied horns and a little brass bell. So everything is crisp. Oh, I had my hand in the way. It looks really good. It has decent weight to it. And there's the front. Now these have what we refer to as pancake motors inside. So all your power is coming from, well, not your power. You get your power from these wheels and these wheels. But all your drive is here. These just roll freely and pick up electricity. And you can see it's Tyco right there. All right, so that is a look at the locomotive and the freight cars included with this set. So let me get a loop of track out and get that set up, and I'll go ahead and get the train put on there, and then we'll give it a run and see how she looks. Alrighty, so I have got the train set on a loop of track here. Now, something to go over real quick. I am not using the track that came with the set. That track is close to 50 years old, and that power supply is close to 50 years old. And I've found that when trying to use that old track, just due to its age, it doesn't like to stay together very well. Now, you can buy the replacement connectors, and that would probably help, but I find it just easier to set up a loop of modern Bachmann Easy Track. It's quick and easy to set up and take down, and I use a more modern power supply like this one that I know is not going to give me any trouble, whereas one that's almost 50 years old just may give you trouble and you just don't want to have any kind of issues. And again, it's, it connects here and it's real easy to set up and take down. Works no problem. So what I did do is I set up a loop of track that will be the same exact size as what you would have got with the train set. So you've got your 12 curved pieces, one of which being a re-railer and your terminal connection. And then you have your straight pieces. There'll be one here and one here. And the radius of the curves is the same. So it's been a while since I have run this set. I'm going to pull a chair up, and I may as well just sit down. That way we can get a little bit better look here. Last time I ran it, it worked just fine. So let's see if it still does. Been a couple years, maybe even 3 or so. Hey, yeah, it works just fine. One thing to note, if you're going to buy one of these old vintage train sets, especially from, like, say, Tyco. See, look, we cut out just a bit. And why did it have to cut out way over there? There we go. They sometimes take a minute to warm up because I've got this thing full throttle and it's just creeping along. So if you're going to buy one of these old vintage train sets, keep in mind that they may not work at all, or if they do, they may run poorly. Now I'm going to give this a minute. It should warm up and smooth out, but not necessarily. Like I said, we have her maxed out here. Like I said, these things are almost 50 years old, and they weren't the highest quality stuff even when they were new. I know one of the big problems that these old sets have is the way the wheels pick up power. You only have two wheels in the front on the left side and two wheels on the back on the right side. Oh, Lord. Let's see if we can make it around. No, we can't. Let's see if we can get this back on the track. Re-railer is supposed to help with that, but not always the best. Uh-oh. See. Well, it is probably time to give this thing some maintenance. So I'm going to stop it before we burn it out. All right. Well, I had wanted to include some more footage on this train running, but it looks like the locomotive has other plans. So I think I'm just going to stop the footage right here. But before I do, let's give you a closer look at it. All right. Well, there you have it. The Tyco Chattanooga Choo-Choo diesel train set that was put out in 1977. This is a really nice train set. It's definitely got presence. I know for me personally, I just like the bright colors of it, the classic Tyco freight cars, and really just how simple and fun this set really is. I mean, it's easy to put together, and it's just a blast to watch it, go around the track. And I think one of the reasons so many people remember this one is the inclusion of so many Billboard cars. When you talk to a lot of people that think fondly and nostalgically about Tyco's train sets, the Billboard cars are what they remember. And as you can see, this train set is nothing but Billboard cars. And actually, it's because of those Billboard cars is the reason it's probably one of my top 5 favorite train sets. So yeah, it's really nice, and it's one of my favorite sets in my collection. So anyway, what about you guys? As I'd mentioned earlier at the intro, this was promoted heavily in the JCPenney and Sears Christmas books. I know back in the day, we would oftentimes fold the corners of the pages or circle something in the toy section to indicate what we wanted. So was this a train set that you guys circled in your family's copy of the Sears Wish Book or the JCPenney's Christmas catalog? If so, did you get this set? Was it bought for you for Christmas, maybe a birthday, or did you just show up at Grandma and Grandpa's house one day and they had this train set sitting on the table along with a big plate of cookies? If so, let me know down in the comments. I'd really like to hear your story. And it doesn't even have to be about this set. It can be just any set. I try to read and respond to as many comments as I can. So drop that down there. I'd like to take a look. All right, well, with that, let's wrap this video up. If you enjoyed taking a look at this vintage Tyco train set, make sure and hit that like button and subscribe and hit the notification bell. That way you'll be alerted when I have another train set video uploaded and ready to view. I've got many more vintage train sets from the likes of Tyco, Bachmann, Lifelike, IHC, and I even have a number of modern train sets that I'll be going over as well. So like I said, make sure and hit that like and subscribe button. Well, all right. Well, until the next video, I would like to thank you guys for watching, and take care.